Alright, today we're going to be fixing this problem right here. So my starter has been giving me some problems lately. It's been really slow to turn over. Sometimes it acts like it really does not want to start, like there's a lot of resistance on the starter. I did a little bit of research and figured that it's probably the brushes that are worn down in this. Starter's only about 2 years old. I bought it off Amazon. It definitely wasn't the most expensive one I could find. It's pretty cheap. Probably cost me only 60 bucks or so. So for the $18 that a new set of brushes cost, I figured I'd give it a shot and see if I can't make it turn over a little bit better. So my Jeep has been leaking oil kind of all over for a while. It's not really enough for me to be worried about it yet, but it makes everything really dirty and makes everything a pain to mess with on the engine itself. Alright, so I got this cleaned up a little bit. Been slowly working on starting to tear it apart. Got this taken off this terminal. I believe this goes to the commutator and to the brushes that are inside of here. So I'm going to take these off and pull this cap off and see what's inside. Jesus. Alright, I didn't realize those went all the way through, so now it's loose. See, it's separated there. I'm still going to try to pull this cap off first. And look at that, it's full of shit. It's probably the cause of my starting issues. So, it also smells burnt. Oh yeah. So this has the pull brushes. And as you can see, maybe, all of my brushes are pretty much gone. So that's definitely the cause of my starting problem. My brushes have worn down well into the housing. So I've got a new one of these that I'm going to put on and get this cleaned up. Try and get some of shit. Try and keep that together. This piece is the one with the magnets in it, the coils. That's why this won't come out very easy. I do have a fair bit of wear on this piece. I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue. The brushes definitely wear faster, which means that if I clean these out, I should be able to get quite a bit more life out of this. It's not like I can't feel a lip or anything, but there's definitely signs that these brushes have been wearing down for a while. So I'm going to continue to clean this up and probably be back when I have it all put together, or when I put these new brushes in. So these are the brush set that I bought online. That makes sense. This piece. There you can see that's what the brushes are supposed to look like. They get pushed in and around this piece. And that's what transmits the power to spin this. So this is what connects your starter solenoid. And you have your power from your battery. When it gets a signal, it sends power out here into your brushes into this, which allows it to spin. Might be kind of a pain in the butt putting it together, it looks like. But that's what the new one is. That's what the old one looks like. I'm not be able to see it. Yes, that's what they look like lined up. But yeah, just gonna figure out how to put this together now. Alright, if you couldn't tell, I was not paying attention and put this in upside down. I had set this down like this and figured it went back on like that. Well, no, it goes back on like that. I figured that out because this slots into there. This wouldn't work like that. So now I have to figure out how to take this apart. Lose anything. Try and get it all back together. Gotta make sure this shaft is pushed all the way through. That was what's connected to that planetary gear. You gotta make sure that all pieces together. The gasket that was in the middle here kept wanting to turn, and that has notches for these long bolts that feed all the way through. And you gotta make sure those line up so they run all the way down. That's what holds your whole thing together. So it goes up right, and then these little screws help hold that brush holder in place and should help keep it centered over that end piece on the motor, which should help prevent shorting it out. So, at least that's my thoughts. Yep. And then this piece can get reattached to this stud. important that that stays snug. So that's what transmits your power to your starter. If your solenoid ever goes out, when you try and turn it over, you don't hear anything, you can jump these two studs with a screwdriver or something, and that'll activate your starter, because this is connected directly to your battery. So if you connect your battery to the brushes, basically that'll spin your starter over, assuming nothing else is broke or locked up and your battery's good and all that. But yeah, once I got the starter out, really only took me 20 minutes, 30 minutes with a little bit of fighting. If you put it in the right way the first time, you'll definitely be able to not have any issues. Do this pretty quick. But alright guys, I got the starter brushes replaced. Definitely starts up way quicker. There's no hesitation at all from the starter. These brushes only cost me $18, which I think is a really good deal versus the $80 to $100 for a brand new starter. This only took me about an hour tops because I messed up the installation. Had to redo it the other way around. But to drop the starter, reinstall new brushes and then put the starter back in, get everything all done, probably only an hour tops. So for the price, I definitely recommend replacing your brushes versus your starter. It's definitely a little bit more involved. You have to take your starter apart. There's maybe a little more that can go wrong, but if you've got a Jeep, you already know what it's like working on them, so it's nothing too hard. It's a couple bolts. Definitely recommend it. Now I need to get on to the other projects for this. Picked this up at AutoZone. It's kind of a U-shaped trim. I've been looking for something like this. I don't know how well this is going to work. It does have some adhesive on the inside, but being on the outside of the vehicle, I don't know how long it's going to last. But on these cut fenders, this edge gets really sharp, and I ended up bending this up and out, give it a little more lip, because I think it looks better than the flat cut fenders. But that left a really sharp edge where people could walk into it or run into it, whatever. So I picked this up. It was like $9 for 8 feet of it, which got the front 2 fenders with, I don't know, about 10 inches left. So you could do the front and the rear for about $20. Probably wouldn't work too well on the rear, at least with the cut and fold like I have. So the trim fenders, because that's quite a bit thicker. This pretty thin still. So it works really well on that. And looks really good. But rears are quite a bit thicker than mine. I actually put a kind of bed liner down on them. But I think that was well worth the $10. I'm sure you can find it cheaper. But I think it looks real good. And did it on this side too. Way darker though, so I like it.